I'm Mililani Trask. I am the OHA trustee for this Hawaiʻi Island. I am also one of the 36 kupuna who was arrested. I have worked and worshipped at Maunakea for 40 years. I'm 71. When you go to Maunakea, we built an ahu there, following what was our teaching. Later, they came and put the visitor center there where we worshiped. I am the one that took the testimony from the Hawaiian people to the United Nations 7 years ago when I was a human rights diplomat there. Recommendations were sent down, but no response was ever received. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs is the office that filed the litigation that shut down the Keck telescope and that brought out the federal court decision setting the framework for what should have been done in Maunakea more than 50 years ago. If you look at the collective testimony, you'll see maybe 40 years of testimony from my family and myself. I was subpoenaed to be an expert witness in this room for 2 weeks to testify in the 5th case that was brought by practitioners. When you take a look at the situation that we're in, the easiest way for you all to understand it is to start with the traditional chants and teaching of our people about this place in Hawaii. And it begins, O Wakea, noho papaya hana moku, hanao o Hawaii he moku. O Wakea, the Sky Father, laid down upon Papa, who birthed the islands, the mother of the earth. Born was Hawaii. O Wakea noho ya Papa hana moku, hanao o Hawaii he moku. O Wakea is Maunakea. Maunakea means the mountain of Wakea, and the name of this place is Mauna a Wakea. It was there from which Hawaii was born. For 50 years, we have abided by and tolerated commercial science. 50 years. The Office of Hawaiian Affairs filed the last case in 2002. That was 20 years ago. We had already been submitting testimony for 30 years. And there was no corrective measure taken. There was no protective measure in any regulation. We're not just talking about papers here, but even in the United States, all people have a First Amendment right to worship the Akua, to worship God. It is an inviolate right. It's in the 13th Amendment, for God's sake. Don't you all know that? It is sacred to our people. And we are in part to be blamed because we have always gone with aloha. They told us when the first 3 telescopes came up, and I was in my 30s, that they didn't have time for a permit. 13 permits have been given out on Mauna Kea, but 22 buildings were constructed. You're a little bit late to come in with the National Environmental Protection Act. We've been trying for 30 years to get you all to do the studies on the mercury spill on Mauna Kea. When we look at what happened on Oahu with the United States military, they didn't clean it up, and it went to the basal lens. We requested this 30 years ago. Mercury spilled that was covered up. Nobody followed the National Environmental Protection Act. We have a right to worship there. We will return. We have been tolerant to a fault. We allow the desecration of Maunakea. One thing you all might not know, the 36 kupuna arrested, and now there's only 34 of us left. In the last 3 years, we die like that. They called our bluff. Your CDUA permit is inapplicable. Your lease is terminating. You do not have the time. And you are here to spin this? My office will not allow it. I have brought to the board the request that we return to the federal court, which is where we were 21 years ago, 22 years. And no corrective measures taken. You can do whatever you want, bring all your pala. You will not build on Maunakea. The die was cast more than 2 years ago. One call, 36 came to be arrested just of the elders, and 10,000? You think we will continue to allow this? We worship there. The iwis of our kupuna are buried there. We have tolerated commercial science to the point that they continue the desecration. Did you know that we are the ones organizing with Sierra Club to remove 13 tons of trash? Because for years, for the first 20 years of Maunakea, the telescope operators wouldn't pay for trash removal, and the county wouldn't go to Maunakea. So they left all their trash out for the winds to blow down the Mauna. We cleaned it up with Sierra Club, not commercial science. Mark my words, you will not build on Maunakea. We have said it for 50 years. Go back to the lawsuit filed by my office in 2002. At that point, the pleadings say 30 years. Listen to what we are saying. We have tolerated it to the point where our kupuna will be arrested and thousands will come. You will not persevere. You will not build Maunakea. Spend all the money you want. If we have to go, we will return. 3 kupunas die, I promise you. The next time we go to the road, there will be 100 to replace each one of them. Don't call our bluff. And the last thing is this. You come here, you do this, you give me a choice, put it on our sacred mountain, or take it to the sacred places of the indigenous peoples of the Canary Islands. No, no, you will not build here. And no Hawaiian will support what you are saying, that you wish to go to the lands of other indigenous peoples. We do not support that. Take your pala. Go home. Stop desecrating our places. You want to call our bluff when we call for those to come to shut down your construction. You will pay the override. Your CDUA permit has expired, people. Even if you proceed to the next step, your lease term has ended, and your lease will not be returned. Maunakea is 100% ceded lands, with the exception of the roadway, which belongs to Hawaiian homelands. We are the trustees. We are the trustees of the ceded lands. And the 2 that came here from our board out of 9, open your eyes. The chair of the board and the chair of the ceded land subcommittee are the 2 we have now that were arrested. Next time around, more will come. Mark my words. Mark my words. You want to waste millions? Do it. Do whatever you want. We've had hundreds of 106s. We know what it is. Read my testimony when it comes in September. Do what you will, but you will not build Maunakea. And if showing you 20,000 and 36 kupunas going to prison didn't show you that, then come back and we'll have 50,000 and hundreds of kupunas.